It's a surprise that it's somebody that I knew, but it's not a surprise that something like that would happen. But just didn't think it would happen to somebody I would know and love.
Bernicia Lightfoot was a rising star, her music touching hearts across Cleveland. But behind closed doors, she was fighting a battle she couldn't win. On September 14th, that battle ended in tragedy, her voice silenced forever by the man who claimed to love her. Backstage at the Cleveland Talent Show, the dim light spills across the worn wooden floor, casting long, jagged shadows that stretch like fingers reaching for something they'll never grasp. The air hangs thick and heavy, a stale cocktail of old popcorn and sweat that clings to your skin and burrows into your lungs. It's the kind of smell that doesn't just linger, it settles, a gritty reminder of every nervous breath, every whispered hope, every shattered dream that's passed through this place. Kids shuffle around, their voices a low hum of excitement and fear, a buzzing hive of energy barely contained. Some strut with puffed chests, their bravado loud enough to drown out the doubt gnawing at them. Others fidget, tugging at sequined hems or smoothing wrinkled shirts, their nerves painted across their faces like a neon sign. But Bernicia Lightfoot, she stands apart, a quiet island in the chaos. Her heart thumps hard, a relentless drumbeat she's sure everyone can hear, pounding against her ribs like it's trying to break free. In her hands, she clutches a folded piece of paper, soft and frayed from being opened and refolded 100 times. It's her lyrics, scribbled in her careful, slanted handwriting. Words about her street, where the busted streetlights flicker like dying stars, and about the big dreams that keep her awake when the world goes quiet. She's 15 now, but she's been writing since she was 12, pouring her life into every line, every rhyme, every beat. That paper's more than just words. It's her soul, worn thin from carrying her hopes. Her fingers tremble as she unfolds it one more time, her eyes tracing the familiar curves of her own script. She's memorized every syllable, but holding it feels like an anchor, something to keep her from drifting away in the storm brewing inside her. The backstage noise fades to a dull roar as her mind slips back to where it all began. It was a summer night, the air so thick and sticky you could feel it pressing down on you. Sleep wouldn't come, not with the heat and the restless hum of the city outside her window. She'd sat on her bedroom floor, legs crossed, a notebook open in front of her. The streetlight outside flickered, casting a stuttering glow across the page, like it was winking at her, daring her to do something. That's when the words spilled out, raw, jagged lines about the broken promises of her neighborhood, about the hope that refused to die even when everything else did. She wrote until her hand ached, until the first gray light of dawn crept through the blinds. That night she knew music wasn't just a dream, it was her way out, her ladder to something bigger. Now, here she is, backstage at the talent show, the weight of that night pressing down on her shoulders. The Cleveland Talent Show isn't fancy, just an old theater with peeling paint and a stage that's seen better days, but it's a chance, a real one. Every year, kids from all over the city pour in, hauling their talents and their fears, hoping to catch someone's eye. The crowd out there's a mix, proud parents with tired smiles, siblings dragged along kicking and screaming, a few scouts with clipboards and sharp eyes. The air buzzes with anticipation, a crackling energy that makes your skin prickle. Brenicia's seen the other acts warming up. A boy with a guitar, his fingers twitching over the strings like they're itching to play. A girl in a sequined dress, her dance steps sharp and precise. A pack of boys laughing too loud, their bravado a flimsy shield against the nerves eating them alive. She's watched them, sizing them up, wondering how she'll measure against the honey-smooth voice of the singer who just left the stage to thunderous applause. Her stomach twists at the thought. How do you follow that? But she shakes it off. She's not here to be someone else. She's here to be Bernicia Lightfoot, with her own voice, her own story. She's been practicing for weeks, late nights after school, her mum hovering nearby, with a mix of pride and worry. Earlier today, she stood in front of her bedroom mirror, singing into a hairbrush, her reflection staring back with fierce determination. She picked her outfit with care: jeans, a plain top, her favorite sneakers. Nothing flashy, just her. Her mum braided her hair tight, fingers deft and gentle, murmuring, "You're going to be great," even as her voice wobbled with something unspoken. Bernicia smiled, trying to ease her mum's fears. "I've got this," she said. But now, with the moment closing in, she's not so sure. The announcer's voice cuts through the chatter like a blade. "Bernicia Lightfoot." It's sharp, sudden, and her name echoes in the cramped space, pulling her back to the present. She folds her lyrics, tucks them into her pocket, her palms slick with sweat. Each step toward the stage feels like wading through mud, the wooden floor groaning under her sneakers with every move. The creaks are loud in her ears, a soundtrack to the quiet before the storm. She can feel the weight of it all. This could be her shot to shine, to prove she's more than just another kid from a broken street. Or it could be the moment she crashes, her dreams splintering on the hardwood like glass. The stage door swings open, and the spotlight hits her like a fist. Hot, blinding, relentless. She squints, the heat prickling her skin, sweat beading on her forehead. The crowd's a blur of shapes, their faces swallowed by the shadows beyond the light. Her mom's there, front and center, clapping loud, her hands a frantic rhythm against the silence. But her smile's stiff, her eyes darting around the room like she's waiting for something to go wrong. Bernicia knows that look. It's the same one her mom wears when the bills pile up or the news talks about another kid gone missing. It's worry dressed up as pride, and it makes Bernicia's chest ache. In the back, a knot of boys slouch against the wall, arms crossed, smirks tugging at their lips. "Another wannabe," one of them sneers, his voice a knife slicing through the noise. The words sting, sharp and cold, but Bernicia's jaw tightens. She's not here for them. She's not here for their nods or their claps or their snickers. She's here for herself, for the fire that's been burning in her since that summer night 3 years ago. She grips the microphone, her knuckles fading to pale, the metal cool against her clammy skin. It's a lifeline, a tether to the words she's carried all this way. She takes a deep breath, her chest rising, falling, the air tasting bitter with nerves. Her lips part, ready to let the lyrics fly, to set her truth loose on this stage. But before a single note can escape, a sharp, ear-splitting screech rips from the mic, a jagged wail that slices through the room. The crowd erupts, laughter crashing over her like a wave, loud and merciless. It's not kind, it's mocking, a chorus of jeers that digs into her skin and twists. Bernicia freezes. Her voice snags in her throat, a trapped bird flapping uselessly against the cage of her ribs. Her mind blanks. The lyrics she's sung 1,000 times vanishing into a void of white noise. The laughter rolls on, each peal a hammer against her fragile confidence. She can see her mum's face, the worry deepening, her hands clench so tight, her knuckles must ache. The boys in the back lean forward, their smirks blooming into full grins, feeding off her stumble like it's a feast. Time stretches, slow and cruel. Seconds drag into minutes, each one heavy with the weight of eyes boring into her. Her cheeks burn, a flush of shame creeping up her neck. She wants to vanish, to melt into the stage and leave nothing behind. The spotlight pins her, a hunter's beam on a trembling deer, and she can't move, can't think, can't breathe. Inside, a war rages. One voice screams at her to run, to bolt off the stage and never look back, to bury this moment where no one can find it. But another voice, the one that wrote those lyrics, the one that's dreamed of this since she was 12, digs in its heels. She can't give up. Not now, not after everything. Her hand shakes as she adjusts the mic, desperate to fix the feedback, to claw back some shred of control. The laughter starts to fade, trickling into a murmur of curiosity. The crowd's watching, waiting. What's she going to do? She closes her eyes, shutting out the glare, the faces, the noise. She focuses on her breath, in, out, steadying the storm inside her. She thinks of her lyrics, those words that mean everything, the heartbeat of her story. She can do this. She has to. Her eyes snap open, locking onto the crowd with a defiance she didn't know she had. Her lips part again, the first note trembling on the edge of her tongue. And what happened next? No one could explain. The Cleveland streets glowed under a bruised purple sky, the kind that promised rain, but held back just to tease. Brenisha Lightfoot, now 16, moved through the city like a spark catching dry grass. Her freestyle video, Cleveland State of Mind, had exploded. 47,000 views in 3 days, 112,000 by week's end. Kids on the corner blasted it from their phones, her voice weaving through the hum of traffic. Murals of her face popped up on brick walls, her painted eyes fierce and unyielding. Her phone buzzed at 3:15 p.m., notifications piling up. Likes, comments, strangers calling her a queen. She grinned, her braids swinging as she walked past a bodega, the smell of fried plantains curling through the air. Her mom's voice cut through the high, sharp and low. "This fame's trouble, Bren," she said, stirring a pot of greens at 6:22 p.m. The spoon scraped the pot 3 times. Pause, 3 more. People don't just cheer, they grab. Brenisha shrugged, scrolling Instagram, her thumb flicking past fan art. She was fine, untouchable, but the late nights piled up, studio sessions stretching to 2 a.m., her backpack sagging with untouched books. Her grades slid, 82 to 71 to 59. Her friends' texts went unanswered, their names fading from her screen. A hollow ache settled in her chest, quiet but heavy. At 7:47 p.m., Devon Morris stepped into her world. He found her at a club gig, his smile sharp as a switchblade. 32, lean, his cologne sharp enough to sting. "You're a star," he said, voice smooth over the bass thump. "I'll get you to the top." He booked her bigger stages, tweaked her beats, his praise warm like summer sun. But it cooled fast. At 9:13 p.m., he lingered after a session, his eyes too sharp, his hand brushing her arm, firm, cold. "Lose the jeans," he said. "Skirts sell better." Her stomach twisted, but she nodded, the air tasting sour. Brenisha's world shrank. Her phone contacts dropped from 47 to 19 by 10:22 p.m. Devon rewrote her lyrics, sanding down her jagged truths into glossy pop. "It's your brand," he said, snapping his fingers. "Twice, always twice." She stared at her reflection in the studio glass, bags under her eyes, braids limp. She missed her old self, the girl who'd fought through fear. Now, she was a puppet, her strings in his hands. Her mum saw it, her hands twisting a dish towel at 8:04 p.m. "He's not good, Bren," Bernicia snapped. "You don't get it," and slammed the door at 9:14 p.m. By 17, the studio was her cage. 4 walls, a mic. Devon's voice barking, "Sing higher, smile." Her songs lost their bite, her voice a stranger's. At 11:47 p.m., she slumped on her bed, the city humming outside. Her phone glowed with a text to Marcus. "I messed up." She sent it, her thumb shaking. Marcus called at 6:35 p.m., voice tight. "Bren, what's wrong?" 5 rings, 6. She didn't answer. Why couldn't she speak? Devon's shadow loomed, her rehearsals, her dreams. "You need me," he said. At 10:03 p.m., his smile a blade. A Tuesday, 3:19 a.m. Her phone buzzed. "Devon, again." She silenced it, hands trembling. She skipped the studio, ignored his calls. Her mum paced, the floor creaking, 12 times, 24. At 8:47 p.m., a knock. 2 cops, hats low, faces grim. Her phone, cracked on Euclid Avenue, held one word. Help. Devon's calls stopped at 6:12 p.m. Marcus sat on the porch, muttering, "I should have known." Her mum stared, eyes empty, the clock ticking past 9 o'clock. What happened to Bernicia? The city waited, its pulse pounding for answers. The Cleveland morning broke grey and heavy, clouds sagging low over Slavic Village like they carried the city's grief. It was September 19th, 3 days after Bernicia Lightfoot's 24th birthday, when a grounds worker's shovel hit something wrong in the dirt. The soil was loose, freshly turned, not packed by time. His hands shook as he brushed away clumps, revealing a glimpse of fabric, a red scarf, knotted tight. At 7:42 a.m., he called 911, his voice cracking over the static. Police swarmed the lot by 8:15, their boots crunching on gravel, yellow tape snapping in the wind. They dug slow, deliberate, each scoop unearthing more of the truth. Brenicia's body lay curled, her face still, her braids tangled with earth. The medical examiner's report came later. Blunt force trauma, strangulation, a fight that lasted too long. She'd been dead since September 14th, hours after her last smile. Detectives moved fast. At 9:33 a.m., they traced her cracked phone, pulled from a dumpster on Euclid Avenue. Data recovery cracked it open. Texts from Devon Morris, her boyfriend producer, piling up at 11:47 p.m. that night. "You can't leave me," one read. "I made you." Another, at 12:03 a.m. "You'll regret this." The words burned cold, each one a nail in his coffin. By noon, cops had him, Devon, holed up at his cousin's place, his alibi thin as tissue paper. He sat in the interrogation room at 2:19 p.m., his jaw tight, eyes darting like a cornered dog. "I loved her," he said, but his voice was flat, a lie that didn't even try to convince. The trial hit Cuyahoga County like a storm. March 2023, 9 a.m., the courtroom smelled of polished wood and stale coffee. Brenicia's mom sat front row, her hands twisted in her lap, a tissue crumpled to shreds. The prosecutor laid it out. Blood spatter in Brenicia's apartment, cleaned but glowing under luminol. Soil from Slavic Village in Devon's car. Her notebook, hidden in his closet, its last entry, dated September 14th. "Told D it's over. I choose freedom." The words hung in the air, heavy as lead. Her mum's shoulders shook, a sob breaking free at 10:22 a.m. She was leaving him, she choked out, her voice raw. So close. Devon sat still, his face a mask, but his hands betrayed him, fingers twitching, nails digging into his palms. The defense tried to spin it, a lover's quarrel, a snap of passion. but the evidence crushed it. A receipt for bleach, bought at 4:17 a.m. on September 15th, sat on the table like a confession. The jury watched, their faces carved with disgust. At 11:49 a.m., the prosecutor played Brenisha's last track, recorded in secret. Her voice filled the room, strong, broken, singing of escape. A juror wiped her eyes. The truth was undeniable. The clock hit 8:15 p.m. on the seventh day. The judge's gavel cracked the silence. "Guilty," he said, voice steady. Devon's face stayed blank, but his hands quivered. A faint tremor no one missed. Justice landed, sharp and final, but it was hollow. Brenisha was gone. Her laugh, her fire, her dreams buried in that cold dirt. Her mom's tear fell, slow and silent, catching the courtroom's dim light. The system worked, but too late. It always did. The Cleveland sky hung low, gray clouds heavy with unshed rain. On Euclid Avenue, a crowd gathered at dusk, their candles flickering against the October chill. Over 2,000 faces, young, old, strangers, friends, stood shoulder to shoulder, their breath fogging the air. A speaker crackled, and Brenisha Lightfoot's voice spilled out, her song, Queen Without a Crown, weaving through the vigil. The lyrics, sharp, raw, full of fight, hit like a pulse, each note a reminder of the girl who'd lit up their city. A teenage boy in a hoodie swayed, eyes shut, mouthing the words. A woman clutched a photo of Brenisha, her tears catching the candlelight. At 7:32 p.m., the crowd fell silent. The only sound, the wind rattling dry leaves across the pavement. Her mom stood at the center, her hands steady despite the weight of grief. She wore Brenisha's old jacket, the denim frayed at the cuffs, still smelling faintly of her daughter's perfume. "She's gone," she said, her voice cracking but strong, "but she's not quiet." The microphone trembled in her grip. She announced the Brenisha Lightfoot Foundation at 7:39 p.m., a group to help young artists escape toxic ties, producers, managers, lovers who clipped their wings. The crowd nodded, some scribbling the name, others whispering plans to donate. Her mom's eyes scanned the faces, searching for Brenisha in every spark of hope. Across town, on a brick wall near her childhood home, artists sprayed a mural. Brenisha's face emerged, bold eyes, braids swinging, a mic in hand. A QR code gleamed in the corner, linking to resources for those trapped in bad relationships. By 8:15 p.m., the paint was still wet, the air sharp with the tang of aerosol. Kids snapped photos, their phones glowing, spreading her image faster than any song. Her music played at protests, her voice a rallying cry for change. Local venues set up code words, say, "Alada at the bar, get a safe ride home, no questions asked." Brenisha's voice stopped, but her story rang loud, echoing in every vigil, every mural, every quiet act of defiance. Her mom kept her old notebooks, pages filled with lyrics that never made it to the stage. At 9:04 p.m., she'd sit and read them, her fingers tracing the words, keeping Brenisha close. If this hit you hard, subscribe for more untold stories of guts and grit.